Jack and Jill walk around the same block, Jack at 4 miles per hour and Jill at 3 miles per hour. Jill takes 10 minutes longer than Jack. What is the distance around the block? To answer this question, we need to use the formula distance equals rate times time. Let's make a chart to sort out our information. We have Jack and Jill, and each of them is moving, so each of them has a rate, a time, and a distance. Jack's distance is given to be 4 miles per hour. Jill's distance is given to be 3 miles per hour. We also know that Jill takes 10 minutes longer than Jack, but we don't know how long Jack takes. So we're going to fill in Jack's time with a variable, t for time, or whatever your favorite variable is. And then Jill takes 10 minutes longer, so t plus 10 minutes. Now, this isn't going to be quite right because of the fact that our rates are given in miles per hour. So we need our time to be in hours so that the units match up. "10 minutes, written in terms of hours, well, we multiply by a conversion factor of 1 hour to every 60 minutes, and we get 10 over 60 hours, which is 1/6 of an hour when we reduce it. So Jill's time is 1/6 of an hour more than Jack's time. This is where we're going to use our formula, because to find Jack's distance, we need to multiply Jack's rate times Jack's time. So 4 times t is Jack's distance. Same thing with Jill's distance. 3 times t plus 1/6. Okay? Notice that we need these parentheses here to show that we are multiplying the 3 by the entire quantity, t plus 1/6. Now that we know each of their distances, how can we determine the distance around the block? Well, the distance around the block, if we draw a picture, Jack walks around the block, and Jill also walks around the block. So that means, since they walk around the same block, their distances are equal. This is how we're going to get our equation. Jack's distance is 4t. Jill's distance is 3 times the quantity t plus 1/6. That gives us our equation. We can now solve it using the methods of algebra. So we're going to first distribute the 3. 3 times t is 3t. 3 times 1/6 is 3/6, which reduces to 1/2. Now we need to put our t terms together. So we can subtract 3t from both sides, and we will get 4t minus 3t equals 1t, or just t, equals 1/2. This tells us that t is 1/2, so that means Jack traveled for 1/2 hour. We were asked to find the distance around the block. The distance is given by this quantity 4 times t. So the distance is 4 times t. T we have found to be 1/2, so we put 1/2 in for t, and we find that it's equal to 2. And because the rate is given in miles per hour, that must mean that the distance is 2 miles. A truck and a van leave from the same place at the same time and travel in opposite directions. The truck travels 8 miles per hour slower than the van. After 2 hours, they are 224 miles apart. Find the rate of each vehicle. We can approach this example in a similar way to the previous example. We can set up a chart showing the rate, time, and distance of the truck and of the van. And we can start filling that chart in with information. Along with that, we can draw a picture. They started at the same place at the same time and traveled in opposite directions. We know that their total distance apart is 224 miles. Okay. So let's fill in the rates and the times. We are told the time is 2 hours for each of them. They travel for 2 hours. And the rate, it says that the truck travels 8 miles per hour slower than the van. We don't know their rates, but we do know that the truck is going slower, so we can assign a variable r to the van's rate. And since the truck is going 8 miles per hour slower, we can assign it r minus 8. Now, just like we did before, the rate multiplied by the time gives us the distance. Remember, that's our formula. Rate times time equals distance. So r minus 8 times 2 and r times 2. Okay. So the question now that we have the distances is, how do we set up the equation? Well, it's not like the previous example. In the previous example, the distances were equal to each other. But in this case, we know they're not going to be equal to each other because they're not traveling at the same speed and they're going in opposite directions. So what we can do is this. The van travels farther, so that's going to be the larger distance. So the truck will be the smaller distance. And looking at this drawing, we can see that the two distances together make 224 miles. So that is what's going to give us our equation. The truck distance plus the van distance equals 224 miles. Okay? And since we know what those are, the truck distance is 2r minus 8, or 2 times the quantity r minus 8. The van distance is 2r. That sum equals 224 miles. Now we solve the equation using algebraic techniques. Okay, I'll come up here. Distributing the 2 times r is 2r, 2 times negative 8 is negative 16, plus 2r equals 224. Combining like terms, 2r plus 2r is 4r. Now to isolate the variable term, we may add 16 to both sides. And we get 4r equals 240. Then finally to isolate r, divide on both sides by 4, and we get r equals 60. This tells us the van's rate is 60, and it must be miles per hour. Then the truck's rate is 60 minus 8, or 52 miles per hour.